Hello everybody. In today's session, we are going to learn about treatment of endodontically treated teeth. The contents are introduction, brief history, effect of endodontics on the tooth, treatment planning for restoration of non-vital teeth, principles of tooth preparation procedures, preparation for overdentures, post-fabrication, core fabrication, provisional restorations, investing and casting, cementation, common post and core failures, technique of post removal, conclusion and references. So let us see in brief what is there in the past decades. So how has the post and core treatment evolved? Pierre Foucault in 1747 was the first person to use the posts that were made up of gold, silver and held in the root canal with a heat softened adhesive called mastic. So this is the first ever evidence of using the post for restoration of teeth. Then came the report in 1800s about porcelain pivot crowns by Dubois Chemant, and where he used the porcelain pivot crowns made up of wooden pivots. So this is the reference from the history about the olden ways to fabricate the restorations for non-vital teeth. So let us first see how does the endodontics affect the tooth. It affects the tooth in three ways. There is a loss of tooth structure, altered physical characteristics and altered aesthetic characteristics. This loss of tooth structure also causes decreased strength in endodontically treated teeth, which is primarily because of loss of coronal tooth structure. Loss of tooth structure creates a significant potential for fracture of endodontically treated tooth. Altered physical characteristics, that is, changes in collagen cross-linking and dehydration of the dentin result in 14% reduction in strength and toughness of endodontically treated molars. Altered aesthetic characteristics, biomechanically altered dentin modifies light refraction to the tooth and modifies its appearance. Inadequate endodontic cleaning and shaping of the coronal area, medicaments used in the treatment affect the appearance of endodontically treated teeth. Now, for such endodontically treated teeth, how do we plan the treatment? So, important considerations are the amount of remaining tooth structure, the anatomic position of the tooth, the functional load on the tooth, aesthetic requirement of the tooth and choice of the post. So the amount of remaining tooth structure is very important. Teeth with more than half of the tooth structure intact are stronger and can be restored with coronal restorations without dowels or posts. So teeth which have lost more than half of the tooth structure require post for retention of the core. The anatomic position affects the prognosis also. Anterior teeth, the ones which are intact and non-vital tooth that have not lost tooth structure beyond the endodontic axis preparation, do not require a crown, core or a dowel or a post. If crown has to be placed, post is indicated. For posterior teeth, greater loading and morphologic characteristics make the molar susceptible to fracture. Cuspal coverage is necessary. In molars with greater destruction, single post may be necessary to improve the retention. Premolars require posts more often than molars. Considering the functional load on the tooth, the success rate of endodontically treated teeth as abutment, single crowns 95%, FPD multi-unit fixed partial denture 89% and removable partial denture 77%. Abutment teeth for fixed and removable partial dentures endure horizontal and torquing forces and need more protective and retentive feature in the restorations. Teeth that exhibit extensive wear from bruxism, heavy occlusion, heavy lateral forces require dowel, core and crown. Cantilever reconstruction on abutment teeth that have been endodontically treated and fitted with posts should be avoided. Aesthetic requirements of the tooth. Teeth in the aesthetic zone need careful selection of restorative materials. Tooth colored dowels or posts, tooth colored composite resin or ceramic cores, and various ceramic crown materials have to be chosen. The choice of the post. Endodontically treated teeth are assessed for the following: good apical seal, no sensitivity to pressure, no exudate, no fistula, no apical sensitivity, and no active inflammation. Now coming to the principles of tooth preparation. Conservation of tooth structure. While preparing the canal, we have to only remove minimum tooth structure as possible. Enlarge till 1 or 2 file sizes beyond the largest used for endodontic treatment. Preparation of coronal tissue. The amount of tooth structure remaining is the main predictor of the success. 2 mm of coronal tooth structure is mandatory. Ferrule preparation. Ferrule is the amount of clinical crown structure visible in the oral cavity after the endodontic treatment is done. So at least 2 mm of ferrule is extremely important. So you can see in this picture that this is a clinical crown. Above the cemento-enamel junction there is 2 mm of clinical crown, and then we fabricate a post and core restoration. So to get an adequate retention form in anterior teeth, the preparation geometry is very important. The circular cross section and elliptical cross section canals are there. So when we are preparing, we have to keep in mind that the cross section may be different for different patients. As the post length increases, its retention increases. The length of the remaining apical fill should be 3 to 5 mm of Gutta-Percha. As you can see here, 3 to 5 mm of apical Gutta-Percha should be there to get adequate apical seal, and the remaining length post can be used. Post diameter. It should not exceed 1/3 of the root canal diameter. Post surface texture. Serrated or roughened post is more retentive than a smoother one. Luting agent also plays an important role. In posterior teeth, retention is better provided by 2 or more relatively short posts. If more than 3 to 4 mm of coronal structure is present, post is not necessary. Now resistance form, stress distribution. There should be conservation of tooth structure, adequate post length, parallel sided posts, avoiding sharp angles, avoiding threaded post, and doing proper cementation. So these are the important features for uniform stress distribution. To provide the rotational resistance, a post with circular cross section must not rotate during function. So we provide this sort of a keyhole preparation, which is an anti-rotational groove, to lock the particular structure, that is the post structure, in place. So it is an anti-rotational element to provide the rotational resistance. Now coming to ferrule in detail, a very important topic. It can be asked as a short note and also in the MCQs. The ferrule is nothing but it is a band of metal or a ring used to fit the root or crown of a tooth. Now what is the purpose? It improves the structural integrity of the pulpless tooth by counteracting lateral forces exerted during insertion of the dowel or the post. Functional lever forces are resisted by this ferrule, and wedging effect of the tapered dowel is also resisted. So you can see in this particular image that a clinical crown height of 2 mm is called the ferrule, and that encirclement effect is there because of the ferrule, and this ferrule prevents the provides the resistance to the lateral forces. So there are two types of ferrules, core ferrule and crown ferrule. Now you can see here in this image, you can see that the A figure shows that extending the preparation apically creates a lot of problems, and therefore this particular ferrule, it prevents the fracture or the lateral forces, problems with the lateral forces are encountered, and that is mitigated by the ferrule. Now this is the ferrule and this is without ferrule. You can clearly see that there is no encirclement and the core directly resists or directly rests on the tooth. However, here the tooth encircles the core material, and here there is directly, it rests on the tooth, that is the radicular dentine. Here there is a coronal dentine, here there is no coronal dentine. So this is the effect of ferrule. Now coming to another aspect, that in an extensively damaged tooth, ferrule can be provided by surgical crown lengthening or orthodontic extrusion. Now you can see here that in many cases the clinical crown height might not be sufficient to provide ferrule. In such cases there are two options. Either we can go for a surgical crown lengthening, that is the removal of the soft tissue or gingiva from the tooth if there is adequate attached gingiva available, and if the bone level, the alveolar bone level permits the removal of the soft tissue. But if there is alveolar bone level very close to the gingival crest, then we have to go for orthodontic extrusion. So in the figure B, we can see it is orthodontic extrusion where the crown root ratio is not sacrificed. But in surgical crown lengthening, we get the ferrule but it sacrifices the crown root ratio. Therefore, orthodontic extrusion is preferable to the surgical crown lengthening wherever it is possible. Now coming to the tooth preparation procedure, the preparation of endodontically treated tooth can be considered in three stages. First is removal of root canal filling material to the appropriate depth. Second is enlargement of the canal, and third is preparation of the coronal tooth structure. So removal of the root canal filling material to adequate depth is carried out by two methods. First is warmed endodontic plugger. Select the endodontic plugger that can hold heat well and does not bind in the canal. Make it to the appropriate length, that is the working length, using 5 mm stopper. Heat it and place it in the canal. The second method is by using the rotary instrument, that is Gates Glidden drill and piezo reamer. Piezo reamer and Gates Glidden drills are often used. Choose the drill narrower than the canal and should not be used immediately after the obturation. So the second step is how to carry out the enlargement of the canal. So canal enlargement, as you can see here, first you remove the gutta percha. After removal, ensure the adequate apical seal, and then with your instrument go on preparing the canal 2 sizes above the last instrument used for the root canal treatment. Now coming to the preparation of the coronal structure. For the preparation of coronal structure, ignore missing part of tooth structure and prepare the remaining tooth as though it was undamaged. Facial tooth structure adequately reduced for aesthetics. Remove all internal and external undercuts that will prevent withdrawal of pattern. Remaining coronal tooth prepared perpendicular to the post, and also give a anti-rotational groove. As you can see here that we have to give anti-rotational groove like this. Now this image tells us about the features of an endodontically treated tooth. So here is the 5 mm remaining gutta percha. This is the remaining tooth structure. This is anti-rotation groove. This is a ferrule of 1.5 to 2 mm in diameter. This is a positive stop. This is cast post and core in one piece, and this is the artificial crown on top of it. So these are the features of endodontically treated tooth. So this was about crowns and fixed partial dentures. Now coming to preparation for overdenture. When we are giving a overdenture, at that time also we have to prepare the endodontically treated tooth to receive a particular post and core restoration. So canines and premolars are first choice of abutments for overdentures. The crowns of the teeth are amputated 3 to 4 mm above the gingival levels. The coronal preparation is there, so there should not be any undercut. Abutment shaped to rise 2 to 3 mm above the tissue and to be rounded with slope back from the labial surface. Denture is relieved over abutment. So this was about the preparation for overdenture. Now coming to posts, it is also called as dowels. It is a relatively rigid restorative material placed in the root of a non-vital tooth. What is the purpose of this post? There are two basic purposes. First is to retain the restoration and second is to protect the remaining tooth structure. But second is the secondary purpose. Primary purpose is to provide the retention for the core. So what are the ideal properties of such a post? It should protect the root. It should not cause excessive stresses on the root. It should provide adequate retention within the root. It should provide maximum retention of the crown and core. It should provide maximum protection of the crown margin and cement seal. It should have pleasing aesthetics when indicated, high radiographic visibility, retrievability and biocompatibility. How do we classify the posts? According to the make, they are classified into custom cast posts and prefabricated posts. So prefabricated posts are of various types: tapered smooth-sided post, parallel serrated post, tapered self-threading screw, parallel-sided threaded post, parallel-sided tapered apical end. Okay, so these are the various designs of the posts which are available in the market. There is another way of classifying posts depending on the active or passive retention. So for active retention posts, the post depends on primarily engaging the dentine directly. So there are threads which engage the or screw in the radicular dentine and fit in the their space, canal space. Passive retention posts are in close proximity but they are not threaded. They mostly adhere by the cement. So threaded posts, as the name suggests, are active posts and should be avoided if there is very less remaining dentinal thickness. As far as possible, we should have passive retention posts. The posts can also be classified into different types depending on the material. So these are all prefabricated posts which can be further classified into parallel post, serrated post, tapered post, made up of platinum gold palladium alloy, nickel chromium alloy, cobalt chromium alloy and stainless steel clasp wire. Serrated post can be made up of stainless steel, titanium and noble alloy. Tapered post can be made up of gold, platinum, nickel, chromium and titanium alloys. There is another category of carbon fiber post, also called composite post. They are strong in nature, easy to remove but non-aesthetic as they are black in color. There are other aesthetic posts which are tooth colored. They are ceramic or zirconia post, brand name Cosmo post, Snow post, ceramic composite mixture, that is aesthetic plus post, woven fiber polyethylene posts, glass fiber posts which are very popular, fiber core para post white and quartz fiber post, DT light posts. So these are the tooth colored posts. The carbon fiber posts, as the name suggests, are black in color and they have modulus of elasticity similar to dentine. Teeth restored with these posts have more fracture resistance than compared to metal posts. Elastic moduli of some dental materials are given here and you can find that the carbon fiber epoxy elastic modulus and that of the enamel is near about similar. With elastic post, fracture will appear at the weakest point. Adhesive joints at core dentine and post dentine cement interfaces. Hence, the mode of failure will be marginal seal loss, core fracture, post fracture, or loss of retention. When it is a stiffer post, it distributes the forces along the post into root, and the chance of irreparable root fracture is increased. So if you have an elastic post, it will cause damage to the restoration but not the tooth. If it is a stiff post, it will cause damage to the tooth structure. Zirconia ceramic posts created slightly less dentinal stress concentration compared to the stresses produced by glass fiber reinforced and titanium posts, which are nearly the same. Now coming to the custom made posts. Custom made posts can be cast from a direct pattern fabricated in the patient's mouth or an indirect pattern that is fabricated in the dental laboratory. Direct procedure. We have to lightly lubricate the canal and notch a loose fitting plastic dowel or post. It should extend to the full depth of the prepared canal. In a dampened dish, we have to mix the acrylic or pattern resin monomer and polymer in a runny consistency. Use the bead brush technique to add the resin, especially pattern resin. We don't use any other self-cure acrylic resin for this purpose because of high polymerization shrinkage. Only pattern resin is the one which has lowest amount of polymerization shrinkage and highest dimensional accuracy. Therefore, it is used. So we have to go on adding the particular pattern resin to the plastic post and go on modifying the internal surface till it is fitting exactly in the prepared canal. Now you can see here that layer by layer we go on adding the material in the lubricated canal, and finally we get the pattern in place. Now this was the direct procedure. If we go for indirect procedure, we have an option of making an impression of the canal space and then pouring a cast and then preparing the pattern in the laboratory on the cast. So for this we have to make an impression using an orthodontic wire. We can stabilize the wire in the canal and then we can make the light body impression along with putty or heavy body, and we can pour that impression to get the cast. And on this cast we prepare the pattern, invest and cast it, and that is how we get the customized cast. Now coming to the core materials and core fabrication, what are the desirable physical properties of a core? It should have high compressive strength, good dimensional stability, easy to manipulate, short setting time for cement. It should have an ability to bond to the tooth and with the dowel or the post. So cast, post and core is the traditional way to restore the endodontically treated teeth. Core is an integral part of the dowel in this particular system. Now coming to the other core systems, we have amalgam core, which is routinely used in up till now, but not used very frequently nowadays because of the availability of a better material. So the potential disadvantage of using amalgam core was that it was susceptible for corrosion, discoloration of gingiva and dentine, and if it is a high aesthetic zone, obviously it is not going to fulfill our purpose. So now we have better materials such as composite resin core. It exhibits favorable ease of manipulation, very rapid set and strong compressive strength. The disadvantage is only of the polymerization shrinkage that can result in the marginal opening and micro cracks, and dimensionally it can be unstable if it is not cured properly, and there is a low modulus of elasticity, so there can be a chance of deformation of composite resins under function. However, in today's times we have very strong composite core materials coming up like Luxa core, and those materials are very strong. So the only problem here we can encounter is of polymerization shrinkage. So we have to master the technique of packing the composite properly and to reduce the shrinkage. So that is how composite resin core is the most promising material in today's times. Now coming to glass ionomer core, wherever the moisture control is not possible or the dentine is not favorable for bonding with the composite resin, glass ionomer core can be given. The advantage is that it can be anti-karyogenic, and disadvantage is that it is limited for small core buildups. It is not having adequate strength to withstand the occlusal forces alone. It is indicated in the posterior teeth to replace the unsupported cusps. Resin modified GIC has a combination of GIC and composite resin. It has moderate strength, greater than GIC and less than composite resin, and therefore it is suitable for moderate size core buildups. So here we can see how do we fabricate a direct pattern using autopolymerizing resin, that is the pattern resin. We have already seen previously we have to use a prefabricated acrylic resin post and then go on adding the pattern resin till we get the exact fit. So like we did for the post build up, same we have to build the core also on top of the post so that we get it in one piece. Now direct pattern for posterior teeth, we have single piece core with auxiliary posts. The prefabricated post pass through the holes in the core. So procedure is one post roughened and others left smooth and lubricated. Build up the core with pattern resin, remove, invest and cast with the roughened single post, and cement the auxiliary post and core to place the whole thing. Now if we have an indirect pattern for multi-rooted teeth, then wax the custom made posts as usual. Build the part of the core around the first post, remove any undercuts adjacent to the other post, and cast the first section. Wax the additional sections and cast them. So there are two pieces, one goes in one canal and the other goes in another two canals. This is because the canals are divergent, and if we make it as one piece, it may not engage, or it may have the seating difficulties. There is another technique of interlocking sections, but it is very complicated and should be avoided. Now coming to the provisional restorations after the post and core fabrication. Now provisional restoration is needed while casting is being done. So place a piece of wire and it should fit passively to avoid root fracture. Mark the wire with pencil at the end of the post space. At a point slightly occlusal to this mark, use pliers to make a 180-degree bend in the wire. Lubricate the tooth with petroleum jelly using a pepper point. Fill the external surface form with provisional resin, and then when the resin loses its surface gloss, place the wire in the post space and seat the external surface form over it. Remove the external surface form while resin is still rubbery, about 2 to 2.5 minutes. Mark the margins with pencil and trim the restoration, trine the restoration, and then polish and cement the restoration. So this is how you can provisionalize. Polycarbonate crowns can be used with a paper clip to provide temporary coverage. Temporary post can be used instead of paper clip or endodontic file. Now coming to investing in casting, a cast post and core should fit loosely in the canal. You can omit the ring liner. Extra hard partial denture gold, that is type 4 alloys or nickel chromium alloys are used, but we have to take care of the porosity. Now before cementation, we should do the air abrasion with aluminum oxide crystals, sandblasting, to increase the surface roughness, and we should mix the cement and carry it in the canal using Lentilo spiral. And post and core insertion of the post and core is done gently to reduce the hydrostatic pressure. So these are the precautions to be taken in cementation. Now coming to common post and core failures, there can be many, like loosening of the post, which is most common, root fractures, post fractures, apical abscesses, carious lesions, and root perforations. So there are various techniques for removal of the post if there is a failure of the post and core restoration. The first is piezoelectric ultrasonic systems, which have various diameter and shape tips which can be used to loosen the post, that is breaking of the cement post interface so that the post can be easily retrieved. The other technique is the use of ultrasonic scaler for the fractured post. So what we can do is we can apply the tip of the ultrasonic scaler. Again it will cause loosening because of the disintegration of the cement lining, and then we can insert a reamer or a endodontic file and then take the post out. There are dedicated systems or techniques for this particular removal, that is Messerman's technique, which has all the instruments in the kit with a trephine, and with the trephine we can insert the trephine in the root canal and then take it out of the tooth. Another is Gonon post removal technique, and this is the first step is to free the head of the post from the coronal tooth structure. The high strength trephine is used to bore and gauge the protruding post to the exact size of the corresponding mandrel, which is specially manufactured to thread the post, and the extracting pliers are fixed on the mandrel and jaws of the pliers are expanded by tightening the knurled knob. So this is the technique. So these are various ways in which we can remove the post once the diagnosis is that the restoration has failed, and we can redo it without much damage to the tooth structure. So this is the end of today's topic. These are the references, the books which are giving adequate amount of resources about this particular topic, along with various educational videos that I have already shared in the Google Classroom. You can go and visit that. So we end the topic here. Thank you very much for your kind attention.